I actually never had a chance to make it when I was a kid because my grandma is always the one that's making the scallion pancake. And no matter what we do, no matter who makes it, it's never as good as hers. Hi everyone, my name's Emily. I'm the owner and co-founder of Mala Project in New York City. Today we're making scallion pancakes. So we're gonna start with making the dough. Start with some all-purpose flour. I have some water that's boiled here. Just gonna measure it for half a cup. And you want to add the water very gentle, little by little. And I like to use the chopsticks in the mixing process. So just gonna add a little bit. We call this process in Chinese, burn the flour, because when you're using hot water to mix the dough, it actually makes the dough much softer. And the reason that you mix hot water with cold water is that otherwise it's gonna get too soft and it's going to be too hard to work with. So what we're trying to do here is to make all the flour into bigger clumps like this. And you want to move your hand in the same direction. It's such a staple, and my family actually eats scallion pancakes as an entree, and we'll just have like a salad on the side or like a little bit of stir fry on the side. So it's kind of the equivalent of rice. Okay, so I think that's good. I'm gonna switch to cold water now. So as you can see, my dough is kind of coming together. There is not really any loose flour on the side of the bowl anymore. This is the time for me to start kneading. Just flour your surface. So you can see the dough just comes together very easily. And all we have to do is to let it rest now. Put a blanket on it. While we're waiting for her, I'll show you a very simple cucumber salad that you can easily pair the scallion pancake with. I'm just gonna take actually 2 cloves of the garlics, and then I'm gonna smash it and just give it very rough chops. Usually I cut my cucumber into thirds. So what I do is I cut it into a triangle and then turn it a third and turn it again, cut, turn it again. Not because I don't have to wash the cutting board, but this is actually the way that my grandma cuts it, so I just took it from her. In terms of condiments, I'm gonna use a little bit of black vinegar, some sesame oil, and then some salt, a little bit MSG, and give it a mix. The ratio, I would do 1 to 3. So I'll take 3 parts of black vinegar to 1 part of sesame oil. And you can take your chopstick and just give it a mix. This is good because when we make the scallion pancake, the cucumber is going to soak in the vinegar and it'll take up on more flavor. We're just gonna let it sit in a bowl, and at the end we're gonna garnish it with some white sesame. Okay, and that's that. Wash scallion and then cut it in a little bit like diagonally. And we're going to use both white part and the green part inside of the scallion pancake. So our dough should be ready. Spray her back. Flour the surface. So it's actually very workable right now, as you can see. I think I'm gonna do 2. Make sure you have your rolling pin nicely floured. When you're rolling out the dough, you don't want to put too much pressure, otherwise it's gonna make it too dense, and right now it's like nice and fluffy and soft. She makes this braised pork belly, but she takes a whole piece of pork belly and she braises it in soy sauce, a ton of spices. So it's not red in color. It's just like so tender and it falls apart. And then you can put that in your scallion pancake. And you can actually dip the scallion pancake in the sauce. So right now, once the dough is rolled out, I will mix it in my hand. So I mix the salt and then just a little bit of MSG and then the 5 spice. So this 5-spice is actually my grandma's 5-spice, and she makes it herself. She puts nutmeg, clove, Sichuan peppercorn, and orange peel, and she takes it to a blender, and the blender blends it for her. After you do that, take the rolling pin, give it a gentle roll so that the spices will stick to your dough. When you're adding the sesame oil, all you have to do is to pour it in the center, and then you're just gonna take the dough and kind of fold it. That way you don't get your hand messy. Then we'll take the cut scallions. You want to make sure you have a good mix of the white and green part. So once the scallion is in, we'll take the edge and start rolling it. When you're rolling the scallion, make sure you're not rolling it too tight, otherwise it's not gonna get nice and fluffy. Take the dough and make it into a log. And at the end, after that, we'll take one end and kind of coil it in. That's it. We'll flour the board again, flour the dough again. We're gonna roll it out again. When you're rolling this dough, you wanna make sure you're just being gentle to it. So that's it. And now we can go ahead and start pan frying these. When we are making the scallion pancake on the stove, you want to start with medium heat. You want to make sure the pan gets hot first before you put the oil in. Once the scallion pancake is in the pan, you can just give it a turn so that the oil is evenly distributed. Once you hear the sizzling sound, you can actually cover the scallion pancake and just let it go for about 2 minutes until the bottom is golden brown, and then we can flip it and do the other side. So while you're waiting for the scallion pancake, you can make a little bit dipping sauce. It's optional, it's not necessary, but if you want, at Mala Project, we make half yellow bean sauce to mix it with half sweet bean sauce. So then once you have like a little bit brown, and we're gonna flip it and do the other side. And kind of see the center, like there's a little bit air coming out, and you can kind of see the dough rose a little bit, and that's what you're looking for. Okay, I think that should be good. So once the scallion pancake is nice and rested, it's not too hot to handle, what you're gonna do is you take the scallion pancake, kind of just throw it down to the board. And what this does is that it makes it fluffier, and the texture will be better and more airy. Cut into 6. Yeah, I think it's looking pretty good. And always, I like to see the scallion is kind of like breaking the dough and coming out from the bottom, just because it just means there's more flavor. And if you want, you can garnish it with some white sesame. I'm gonna just take the best looking one. I don't know what to say. Very fluffy, and you can see the different layers inside, and it's filled with scallion, so it's full of flavor. I think my grandma will be proud. It's never gonna be good as hers, but I think it's pretty close. You can dip it with the dipping sauce. This is gonna be very salty, so you should be careful. Just dip it a little bit. Very good. And I'm gonna try the salad. My trick is that you should always eat from the bottom, because that's where the most flavor is. Very simple, summery, a great, refreshing summer dish. For the recipe, click below and come visit me at Mala Project.
I made these last week when I was home with my parents, and they never had them before, and they loved them. But yours look 1,000 times better than mine.
Oh, I'm sure yours look really good.